what you do. Struggle. You just gotta enough to see you through.
Well, welcome to the Mortal Kombat panel. My name is Joel Vallie. I host a YouTube show called Media Glitch, where you can find this on YouTube after, it'll post there. So it is very exciting to come here every year. The highlight of my trip, the reason I come all the way from Albuquerque is to do this one panel. I do all the panels here, but this is the one that I'm like, I have to do. So, man, 25 years ago, I remember walking in to a little pizza place, little pizza joint, where we'd all hang out, and there was a crowd around a certain video game. And I was like, what's going on here? And I seen like what looked like a movie, and you're playing it, and then someone ripped the head off of another person, and I just went, I'm in love for life. And my love for Mortal Kombat, and that is why you guys are here today, to meet these guys, to pick their brains. So I just want to kind of introduce them one by one. First we have a gold medal winner in international as well as U.S. martial arts tournaments. Gained his notoriety for his contribution to the Mortal Kombat franchise. He gave life to Johhny Cage, father of all Mortal Kombat characters: Scorpion, Sub-Zero, Reptile, Smoke, Noob Sabat. Master Pesina is also on the side art of the Mortal Kombat arcade cabinets. Welcome, put your hands together to Master Daniel Pesina. Anthony Marquis is an American actor and martial artist. Marquis was rated in the North American Sport Karate Association Top 10 for 1989, 1990, 1993. He was also voted Rookie of the Year in 1989 and was the National Wushu Champion in 1996. He has performed in many stages and movie productions, including doing stunt work for Leonardo in TMNT 3, and perhaps is best known as Kung Lao in the Mortal Kombat series. Give your hands up for Anthony Marquis. I got to spend some time with this guy. You have no idea what you're in there for. Elizabeth Malecki is the original Sonya Blade from the first Mortal Kombat. At the time, Liz was a professional trainer, fitness instructor, and dancer who took martial art classes from Daniel Pesina in Chicago. Together with Dan, they created the character Sonya Blade and her dramatic leg grab move and fatal kiss of death. You guys remember that? So put your hands together, guys, everyone, for Elizabeth. Last night I'm walking through the hotel. It's late at night, thunderstorms, and all of a sudden I see Quan Chi coming at me. Like, oh man, what's going on? I never met Richard DiVizio before this, but Richard DiVizio is an American actor best known for his work in the Mortal Kombat video game series. He is perhaps best known for his portrayal of Kano, Baraka, Cabal, Quan Chi. Richard holds a degree in computer graphic design from the American Academy Art of Chicago, and the MK co-creator and former Midway employee John Tobias was his alumnus. Richard is also martial arts trained in the ways of 7-star praying mantis, Chinese Kung Fu, and Wushu. Please put your hands together for Richard DiVizio. Oh my goodness, yeah. It's a long All right, so we have some mics. You guys can share mics. You can grab mine. Feel free to grab mine. Just like, get over here, grab the mic. So, guys, wow, thank you so much for coming all the way, for your fans. You guys are, it's just such an honor to be able to do this panel every year with you guys. Man, I just have so much fun. I have so much fun. Yeah. We were just like 20 minutes ago losing our minds laughing, singing the songs. But man, I need to know. Let's just let these guys know. We did do a panel last year, so there's questions I'm not gonna probably repeat. There's some I will repeat, but there's a lot of other questions on that panel. This one is gonna be crazy, I think. So
let's do it.
Feel free to check that out on the And then, so
where can they check last year's?
Media Glitch on YouTube. That's where it's
Yeah,
at.
gotta give them the
Subscribe
plug.
today.
Gotta give them a plug.
Subscribe today. And just type in Mortal Kombat panel, game on Expo, and you'll see awesomeness that ensued. Now, breaking in stories. If it wasn't Mortal Kombat, elaborate. If it is Mortal Kombat, how do you get approached to get into this industry, to, all that? Here we go. Whatever you want.
To get into this industry, you have to be a geek. You have to collect comics. You have to play D&D on Sunday at one of your friend's house. And within the group,
surround yourself with creative people.
yeah.
Because
we played with.
They're going to go somewhere with it,
Yeah, we played D&D with and went to the movies with John Tobias way before Mortal Kombat. He's the creator of Mortal Kombat. If you didn't
We
know.
almost lost our lives together. Tell the story, Daniel.
Oh my God!
Yeah,
This is a good story. Because years before Mortal Kombat, I mean, we all grew up with John. So Dan, tell the story where we almost got into this car accident.
Oh my God! Well, not all of us would have died. Only Kano would have died. Let's get that straight. So John gets this bright idea. He's going to do a project he's in
Columbia College?
Yeah, Columbia College. And he's going to do a film. And he calls us up and he's like, hey, I want to do a Kung Fu movie. And, film some fight scenes. We're going to go out to the forest preserve. So he borrows his dad's car. He gets the equipment from Columbia College. We pack it in the trunk. He's driving. I'm in the front seat. My brother Carlos is in the back seat. And Rich is in the back seat.
No, actually, I'm in the front because my
Were you in the front?
Yeah, my claws were in the dashboard after we almost got killed.
I always thought it was in the back because the film equipment got crushed. Anyway,
Okay, this is hot. This is what we deal with like every freaking day with these guys. So just bear with us, listen to the story. But this is actually the MK interaction.
Actually, this is pretty much how we created MK. Because we didn't really have a script or anything like that. We just got together and we just bickered like this. With me, John, Carlos, and Rich. We were just kind of bickering over the game. But anyway, we're driving down this
So
road.
we're on a 2-lane highway. No, actually, yeah.
No, it's
No, it was
one.
two. No, it was four.
No, it was a 2-lane.
There's two.
2 lane, one going this way, one going that way. And so we're looking for the entrance to film. And John starts slowing down, and this guy decides to pass us in the other lane. So we're going to make a left, and this guy decides, because we're slowing down, he decides to pass us on the left. So as we're making a left, this guy hits the car. We spin out. Car is totaled. Equipment in the back. Some of the camera equipment is ruined. We're all like spun out. John's dad got a new car out of it. But we waited on the side of the road for the tow truck. And because we never finished that project, eventually John, when he called Richard and I, was like, hey, remember we never finished that movie? He goes, I have an idea that I want to pitch to Midway about a fighting game. And he's like, can you help me? And so Rich, myself, and Carlos went on to help him pitch a game called Mortal Kombat.
Ta-da.
Yeah, we've been friends for a long time. It's going to be luck, but the fact that our group set of friends that we all grew up with each other, we're all a lot of creative people, a lot of artists, and so that's pretty much, who we surrounded ourselves with. And when you get a lot of creative people together, something's going to happen at some point. And that's, just to make a long story short, I believe even after Columbia College, John was a comic book artist for Now Comics. He drew the real Ghostbusters comic book because I was still going to college myself. He got out of there before I did. He actually went to school with Alex Ross, if any of you know who Alex is. He was also alumni of American Academy of Art. But then I believe John had gotten in at Midway Games and did Smash TV was one of his first games in Total Carnage before Mortal Kombat, and He wasn't working with Ed Boon yet because I think Ed was doing High Impact. But eventually they both came together to work on a project. But I'll give it to Daniel here because I know a lot of people, heard about the whole Jean-Claude Van Damme thing for Mortal Kombat, or what it was gonna be. And I'll give this to Daniel now because he kind of knows
If
how
that's
it
the
was.
question. Joe,
Yeah,
was
go
that the
ahead.
question?
Yeah, because there was a point where John had to call us and go, you know what, this is not gonna be a Van Damme thing, but I got a bunch of friends who know martial arts, so I think I'll just call them. And that's pretty much exactly how it happened. It was like, now they're scrambling, it's not gonna be Van Damme. So, hey, Rich, Dan, what are you guys doing? Hey, we're gonna do this fighting game. And honestly, when I first spoke to John, it was like, I really didn't know what a fighting game was. I told him,
Just said,
I'm like Pac-Man, Tempest, Galaga, Donkey Kong. Those were my games that I grew up. But I really didn't know, and he had to explain to me, what a fighting game was, and explain to me what Street Fighter was. And eventually, it was going to lead to, and we didn't know that this game was going to blow Street Fighter away. I guess that was the goal, on Midway, hey, we need an artist that's going to blow away this Street Fighter thing. So let's do it.
Sorry about the echo you guys are hearing. It's the first panel of the day. We're trying to work those out, but I mean, you are Quan Chi as well, so it's like, you gotta have that.
Yeah, actually, what happened was John called us and we snuck into Midway at about 10:30 at night to film some footage to sell this idea of a fighting game because he didn't want other people to know that he was going to work on a live action fighting game. So then when we pitched the idea of this thing that called Mortal Kombat, we pitched it to the management, and that's when they said no, that they liked our idea of a fighting game, but they didn't like a fantasy fighting game. They said they told me they were going to give it to Jean-Claude Van Damme, and at that point I was kind of mad because I don't work for Midway, and I demanded that the ninjas be Lin Kuei, that they look kind of like this. John added color. But I was like, crap, they're going to give my ideas to Jean-Claude Van Damme. That fell through. And then John was like, okay, no game. So I recall Rich calling him every day saying, why don't we go back to the original idea of doing this 200 game project, cabinet project. So finally, Tobias gets tired of Rich calling him every day, asked Ed, hey, Ed, can we go back to our original idea of doing 200 cabinets? And at that point, Ed was like, yeah, you guys started and you need help, I'm gonna help you. So then we got together, started creating Mortal Kombat.
Take note, when we did that, there was no title Mortal Kombat. It wasn't like you went in and go, we're gonna create this game Mortal Kombat. There was no title yet.
Not even characters.
Hey, everyone. I was not in on this first part, so that they're talking about.
Right.
So because we all worked together at Lakeshore Athletic Club, I taught fitness classes there, and these guys taught martial arts classes, and I took a class from Danny. And so then I'm not sure what prompted it, but they asked me. I wanted to be in on it, so that's the part in which I got involved.
And then Anthony, you don't come till Mortal Kombat 2. How were you approached?
There's a whole story about this one.
Always a story.
There's always a story. All right, but I'm gonna let Danny tell this one because
I'll tell the first part.
you tell the first part.
So
All about these ninjas.
yeah, so we're gonna film the ninjas, and actually the ninjas it was gonna be one ninja, and that was gonna be Tony. And the day before he's going to film, he's lifting weights, he drops a 25-pound weight on his toe and breaks it.
Oh my Lord.
So the day before he couldn't, because when we, there's tons of stories. Like oh man, should I elaborate?
Do it.
So the camera, so one day I'm going to shoot Mortal Kombat. This is a side note, so you know how low budget this is. And then Tobias calls me up, hey, we're not filming today. And I was like, what's up? Well, why aren't we filming? He's like, I forgot to ask my dad for permission to use the camera. So we are not filming today. So exactly, we didn't have a camera.
21.
Yeah, he's a kid.
Yeah, 22. Yeah.
23.
Yeah, 22, 23. So we're using John's dad's camera to film this game. All the movement, because it's as high as a resolution as you can get for a person buying a camera, regular person. It's not studio quality. So all the martial arts, it's a consumer camera. Everybody has to do the moves super slow. So Tony can't balance on his toe because of his toe.
Okay,
so
and let me jump in here real quick. All right, so it's early in the morning because just to work out, and it's like 5:30 in the morning, and so you have the 45-pound plates, and they're one side. And I'm tired. I don't know what I'm doing, and so I go and pull. I'm on the leg press machine, and there's a bunch of 45-pound plates, and okay, I'm gonna strip this, but I forgot that there's a 25-pound plate in front of that. And so that's when I'm pulling the 45-pound plate off. It's not like, it's not like I just dropped something. And I'm tired. It's early in the morning. And I pull the 45-pound plate off, and that's when the 25-pound plate falls in my toe. Okay, so that's how that happened. And now I'm going to jump in here.
No.
So if that didn't happen, I would have done, the ninja or whatever. It would have been great, whatever. But let's face it, how many people really, really enjoyed Scorpion and Sub-Zero? And really, that is because, it's the personality and the pixels. And Danny did a great job. He brought Scorpion and Sub-Zero to life. If I would have done it, it would have been great. Sure, it would have been whatever. And it may have been, maybe it'd been, a game changer, or maybe it would have been whatever. But because I didn't do Scorpion and Sub-Zero, I had the opportunity to do Kung Lao in the next Mortal Kombat. And who doesn't love Kung Lao?
That guy's laughing, Tone. Freaking cut his head off.
Tone, can I take what you said?
Oh, please.
And make a t-shirt? I want a personality in the pixels. I like that. I love that.
No, but
that's true.
It is true. This is one of those things that separates, anything, like Street Fighter. Street Fighter's, it's a great game or whatever, but ultimately what it is, it's animation or whatever. But there's something about, this magic and this lightning in the bottle that we were able to capture with this personality and this personality and this personality captured within, 8 frames or whatever of somebody punching and kicking. And that's why we're here today. It's, because there's that creativity, that magic that happened there that, I don't know, that didn't happen in Pit Fighter. I don't know. So yeah, it is the personality and the pixels.
I'm taking that.
Personality and the pixels. Yeah.
Well, you guys definitely, because you don't have no masks on, your personality shines through. I remember I was actually, it's funny because I was teaching Sonia how to play Sonya on the arcade machine, and then she's whooping my son. But I am actually, it's cool because I'm teaching Sonia how to play Sonya right now. So if you can see, she wanted to know this move. You're gonna show him? Show him how it's done?
I'm gonna try.
Let's see.
All right, here we go.
There it is, there it is.
Oh boy.
I was like, that's her. It's like, that's you. Wow, and it still comes through, in that personality in you, man. You just, I will admit, when I seen you for the first time, I was like, oh man, here he comes.
Tell him what happened last night.
I was just walking.
I just got to the hotel. I walk in, and this guy's over here like, it's not like from like 50 feet away. He's like, Quan Chi. What did you say?
Well, it's got that lighting from above the hotel, and
I planned all that. The dramatic entrance.
And he's coming in with his equipaje. I'm thinking in Spanish, suitcases. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, Quan Chi's coming at me. What do I do? What do I do? You know? And then I just went, Richard DiVizio. I think his head was down. He's just like, and I'm like, oh man. And he says, and I just went, hey, I'm your moderator.
Nice.
And he's like, where's Daniel? Is he at the bar yet? He's hanging out. Where do I find him? So, yeah, it was awesome. But yeah, I mean, all your personality comes through, I think, on all the characters, you know. There's even Kung Lao has such a finesse to him, just like a grace when you're even playing him on the Mortal Kombat 2 machine. It's so interesting to think that you would have been part of Mortal Kombat 1, would have changed everything, you know what I mean?
Oh yeah, so everything happens for a reason.
Yes.
And this is, you know.
If you want to see Kung Lao in action, come by our booth later, because Tony's got his 3-sectional staff. I don't know if you know what that is. It's like a regular martial arts staff is just like the stick. This is a staff that's broken into 3 sections. So there's, you know, and it's really difficult to operate, but he rocks at this thing. So if you want to see him do this live, he's going to be doing it at our table.
Just come by and hang out. It'll be
Just come by and hang out.
it'll be
We're
cool.
seeing. He also and Tony also has an album. He's like a front man for a band. It's called Kung Lao and the Scorpions. So
Tell us. Is that the name of the band?
Okay, yes.
Okay.
So fine. Let's just cover that first. So we're sitting in the office here, me and this guy, and I don't have a name for the band. It's just, it's me and a couple, these guys or whatever. And then Danny, go ahead.
So I was like, you know what would be really cool if you call, because I'm a fan of the Scorpions. And I am Scorpion. So anyway, I was like, oh, it'd be cool if you have the band called Kung Lao and the Scorpions and all the band members dress up like a scorpion. So Tony was like, man, that's a good idea. And then someone else said, well, there is a band called the Scorpions. And I said, well, they better shut up.
Yeah, they have. Since you hit. And you can buy that CD, right?
And again,
let's do a plug.
Let's
do a song.
Oh, sure. Oh, okay. Hang on. Let me get this out here first, and then we're gonna do a song. But even last night, we roll into town. We go to, we go to dinner. We meet a bunch of people or whatever, and it's a lot of the same story. Oh my God, meeting you is, makes my 13-year-old head explode. And let me take that. Now I'm going to babble. Can I babble for a couple minutes? You guys? Okay. Yes. Imagine, whatever you do, and somebody compliments you, and then imagine something that you take a lot of pride in, and people really compliment you, and how would that make you feel? It would make you feel like, oh my God, thank you for appreciating what I'm doing, and you'd want to get to know these people. And it's like, thank you. This means a lot to me. And so people, it's just so much fun. I posted a picture from us 25 years ago doing these type of panels or whatever. And some people are like, oh my God, don't you get tired of doing it? How do you get tired of meeting people who appreciate what you do, and then getting to know them, and then, oh my God, you love cosplay, you love this, you love that, whatever, and you just, it's not just people meeting the Mortal Kombat people or whatever. It's the Mortal Kombat people. Oh my God, we're having another drink because you rock, and this is so much fun. And all of a sudden, somebody's getting married, and we're gonna
we're going to a wedding tonight.
We're going to a wedding tonight. This is how this stuff happens, and
And then you're going to be in a game one day with us.
Yes. No, seriously.
I want to be in the game.
So all of the, but all of this is all born out of, whether it's me, whether it's Danny, whether it's Liz, whether it's Rich, we've all had this dream, we all wanted to do, especially the monkey at the end here. We all wanted to do martial arts as kids. We all wanted to be, in some version of Bruce Lee. He very much represented what we wanted. And then so we had this dream in our head, this goal. And then, none of us are Bruce Lee. I'm not Bruce Lee. But when you break it down, Bruce Lee was somebody who was known because of martial arts, who inspired other people through his martial arts. And in some way, some small way or shape or form, I do that. Rich does that.
It's like being an entertainer. You want to give, just that.
You want to be
take
the
words out of
best.
your mouth.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Danny here was the one who gave us all this opportunity to make this thing flourish.
Thanks, Bo.
Dude,
What about me?
Dude,
I got you.
yeah.
Okay.
But in any event, okay, I'm done. We'll circle back around to where I wanted to go with this. But go ahead.
And you guys, you do. You guys play a lot of, we would not have the get over here if it wasn't for you. Is that
Rich?
correct?
Yes.
This is true.
Yeah.
How that?
Let me go first, Bob, because that way I could praise you.
And I look at
So we're shooting the fourth character, which is going to be the ninjas. There's a story before that about how there's two ninjas and how the story of the ninjas gets created because of me and my brother arguing with John Tobias. But we can get that till later.
That's why you have to hang out at the booth.
Yeah, so we're going to do this. We're going to do the fourth character, and John approaches me and said, hey, Ed wants to contribute to the game. He has some ideas for it. And it's the fourth character. We were already rolling pretty good. Everybody at Midway liked the project. So I was like, okay, let's hear what he has. And so Ed's first idea was to take a lasso like a cowboy over my head and throw it over a person, and then hand over hand drag him over to me. And then I was like, wait a minute. I'm not going to do any Wonder Woman in this game because I don't do Wonder Woman. But there's a rope dart, and I start showing them and who carries a rope dart with them. I do, which is Scorpion Women. So I start to do it, and then Rich sees it, and he's like, you know what would be cool? If you throw it in the chest and you pull them, and at that point in Kano's voice, he says, get over here. And then he's like, and then you uppercut him. That would be really, really cool. Everybody started laughing. But even to this day, whenever you hear get over here, that is Ed mimicking Rich during the filming of the creation of Scorpion.
And everyone knows that.
It's a tribute.
Well, yeah, when we were going to start to incorporate some sort of weapons into the game, Daniel had this, like a dagger. And what is this dagger used for?
It's to pull guys off their horses.
Yes.
Yeah.
Battle.
So, yeah, close
stick it
quarters.
into them.
Yeah, you got the archers for long range, but when you're close, the battle horses are really, really dangerous. So you try to get the rider off of it.
Yeah, and I'm just like, this would be cool just to stick in the guy and just pull him back and then, tell him, get over here, like that, and, finish him off like that. And, but those words, I coined the phrase, get over here. It was funny because I saw a T-shirt that says "Get over here" at I think it was like Hot Topic or one of these places that sell all that cool movie stuff at the mall. But yeah, I saw a shirt like that with Scorpion and Sub-Zero on it. It says "Get over here," and I'm like, I made that up. That's one of the things I made up. I got some other stuff.
Yeah.
Every table. And their mom was saying, get over here. Today, It's still used today. Get over here. It's
Yeah.
so iconic. And
Yeah.
That's where it originated from. What about, this is a nerdy question that myself, I've always wanted to ask, the heart pull, the Kano heart rip. Is that Kali Ma? Is that Indiana Jones inspired? Where does that come from?
Yeah, when we were starting to do the fatalities, I always tell the story that John didn't have this stuff written down. Like, you're gonna. It wasn't real corporate. It wasn't like you're gonna rip the heart out, and it was more like John's like, what do you got?
It's true.
Well, we watched a lot of movies, a lot of John Carpenter, Spielberg growing up, Big Trouble in Little China, all these different type of, Temple of Doom, whatever, Star Wars. And so we loved movies, and I'm thinking, I know in Temple of Doom, they would lower this guy into the fire, or before they did the ritual, the guy goes in the guy's chest and, this is Spielberg. This is not like, and then it's like when we do it, it's like, oh, that's a violent video game. It's like, listen, Spielberg's doing this crap, even beforehand. But, I had this thought, I'm like, that was cool when the guy stuck his hand in there and pulls the guy's heart out, and you could see it beating him. So when John's like, what do you got? I'm like, why don't we just rip the guys out? Why doesn't Kano just, stick it out and just do something like that? Now, the story is Daniel will say that I think the first time I did it, that I think I bit the heart.
Yeah, John was like,
And I held it up like this.
yeah, John was like, we cannot do that.
Don't bite it, because it's a little too much. So I ended up I'm like, we're just gonna rip your heart out, and then I'll hold it up like this. And yeah, that's good. It was a lot of that. There was a lot of collaboration on set. So, like I said, we're a creative group of people, and that's pretty much what I came up with. So, and that's what stuck.
It'd been cool though to be known as Kano the Cannibal. You know what I mean? The end of everything. Like.
Yeah, right.
So I love you guys. I gotta get to Liz a little bit here. Liz, tell me. Okay, if you guys don't know, she got a great story about the kiss of death. She's got okay. We'll get
the crab.
You're selling stuff at the booth as well.
Yes.
But it's for a purpose. It's for a charity. You want to tell about that and then run right into the kiss of death.
Okay. I'm running the marathon on the Team World Vision charity. Team World Vision raises money for, it's the largest non-governmental provider of water to parts of the world that have no water at all.
It's a good cause, right?
Yeah.
The average child walks 4 miles a day to get water, and therefore they miss going to school. So you may or may not know that a lot of marathons are so popular you cannot get in them unless you're part of a charity. So I joined the Team World Vision charity. So all the things that, the photos that I'm selling today are really donations for the charity.
I was telling her yesterday, I was like, Sonia is the first person I learned because she has that leg grab and you have to block, but it's not just a regular block. You have to go down and block. And the block buttons were in.
Secrets away.
Block buttons were in fighting games. Like Street Fighter had a back button. And so a lot of people didn't understand that you had, some of the things. But you have the kiss of death. What? You have a story?
I don't have a story for the kiss of death.
Actually, I have a bunch of stories.
Leg grab move.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah.
Dan's good story.
No, leg grab move. First leg grab move.
It's hard to get a word in edgewise.
I'm trying to make it happen here for you.
Thank you. So before I got to be part of Mortal Kombat, I was a dancer and I did modern dance, and I was usually my forte was when gymnastics was somewhat involved with the dance. And so I had been in a dance that had a move sort of like a handstand with the legs flopping back and up. And so that's where Danny said to me, like he said to Rich, what do you got? And so I thought, well, let me see, what could I do? And that's how I came up with that move. And he said, yeah, you could throw someone with your feet. Okay. That sounds good.
It's so amazing to hear how the moves came about.
Yeah.
It's like
Here's a quick one about this. So we're getting ready to do a fatality, and then we're gonna do this fatality, and then Liz looks at John, Ed, and I, and it's like, why do I have to kill them? Why can't we just be friends? And that was number one. And later on, we got friendships out of that. So Liz is the originator of a friendship.
But you came up with the kiss of death, I think.
What did you say after that about the convention?
Yeah, we were gonna. So after when we were joking around, right after that, I was like, oh, then then you have to do the kiss of death. And then John was just like, you know, it'd be cool if you kiss your hand and blow it at him, blow it at the opponent. And I was like, oh, and it'd be really cool if it turned like into a butterfly, and it just goes like a pretty little butterfly, and then it touches you, and then you explode. And then John was like, yeah, we're gonna do that. So that's like
Then
that.
he turned it into a ball of fire.
Yeah. Then you turn it on a ball of fire.
Yes, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Because we did it kind of together.
Should we take some questions before we run out of time?
Cool.
Yeah.
We're gonna take some questions. Whoever's tuning in online too, but let's get over here.
I prepared weeks. I got all these questions and we'll never get to it.
We'll stream from the table. We'll stream from the table. Yeah.
Any questions, guys, out there? There we go, right there.
Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on.
all right,
Got the question.
That was really loud.
Get over. Richard DiVizio. Come on up, please. I don't know if you're supposed. Yeah, please. You guys come up, join us, okay? Yeah.
Well, first of all, thanks for being here, guys. I met 3 of you yesterday. I didn't get to meet you yesterday. You weren't at the table. But anyway, so when the original game came out, video games, they obviously weren't known for having as much violence as they're known to have today, which I think resulted in the ESRB rating system.
Yeah.
So how did you guys, I guess, what's the way I'm trying to word it here? Like, how did you guys handle the controversy that the game created when it originally came out?
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
Okay, so a lot of what drove Mortal Kombat was, the fatality, the blood, the tearing the head off or whatever. That brought it a lot of recognition or whatever.
I remember.
But okay, when you see all of that, that's whatever. But then there are kids who, oh my God, look, they're just game and it's so violent. But look at these guys, they're doing martial arts. And some of those kids actually end up doing martial arts.
Cool.
Okay? Some of those kids, that's no stretch of an imagination. Some of those kids end up doing martial arts. And the things that you learn from martial arts, self-respect, discipline, self-esteem. You strip away all of the violence, the gore that originally brought them in. And now in the long-term goal, they're better, they're stronger, they're faster, they're more confident.
Awesome.
How is that a bad thing in the world?
It's not at all.
Exactly. This is how we justify what we do.
Cool.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot.
that's pretty much what we tried to turn it into fitness and exercise and working out and being healthy, not killing.
That's really cool.
Yeah. And politicians, they're always, now the politicians they're paid to solve the problem. But nowadays they think that putting the blame on somebody else is really the way to, yeah, exactly.
And
a scapegoat. Yeah.
another thing too is it's parenting.
Thank you.
Not only that, there was violence and gore way before Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
In movies,
Roadrunner.
entertainment. Hollywood was doing that, back in the day. But, because I was involved in this, and whether I'm ripping a heart out or doing whatever, I don't go and do, bad things, I remember when I was in when I grew up in Chicago, we had gangs in our neighborhood. And my dad told me if I ever joined a gang, he would break my mother effing legs. That's what he told me. And I was scared. I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna do that. Because I like my legs.
Yeah, and if I hit my brother,
but
my mom would beat my
I do understand too that it's different times. Gangs were different back then than they are now. But I always tell the story, I had gangs coming up and down my alleyway when I was a kid, and it was more like, hey, you want to join a gang? You're like, no, I don't think so.
I like my legs.
Let us know, we'll be on this corner, we're there from this time to this time. Let us know if you want to join us. Today it's a little different. It's like, if you don't do it, they'll hunt you down or whatever, but it was different. But, when I was walking the streets as a kid, I was always listening to my music, riding a BMX bike, and, I just tried to stay good. I'm not saying I was a, like a real good kid, because I used to walk around, with a guy who he would smoke marijuana when I was a kid. He would do that. And I never tried that in my life. I hung out with this guy, he listened to rock and roll. I will say that he was cool in a way where he respected the fact that I didn't want to try something. He was just like, no, that's all right, bro. You don't need to do it. But I quickly realized, like, man, this guy's just doing this every day. It's all he's into. And I eventually just, I had to get out of hanging out with this person because it's all that they wanted to do all day long. And then eventually a friend of mine actually was taking martial arts from Daniel, and he brought some chocolate sticks, nunchucks to school one day. And then I got to meet Daniel through him. And, my life changed a little bit differently, but I think everybody's different.
It was a good parenting though that sent you that way.
Yeah,
To make good decisions.
even though I hung out
Like
with
you
this
were
guy
like-
who did certain things, in the back of my mind, I was like, all right, well, I could hang out with this guy because he seemed pretty cool, but just don't go too deep don't get into a gang or don't, whatever, or don't smoke or don't, whatever. Yeah, okay, I'm boring. No. Don't drink, don't smoke. What do you do? Wasn't there a song like that?
Yeah, Data Man.
Yeah.
Another question?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yes, please, come on. Get over here. I'm gonna keep doing that. It
No, I
never
went
gets
on a
old.
tangent, sorry. but-
Never gets
Be
old.
good. Sorry, Tom.
Never gets old.
Hi, my question is basically I was impressed with the actual marketing with the dragon. I wanted to know how did that come to be? Like why was the decision to use the dragon instead of a fighter for your Mortal Kombat marketing?
How does the logo come about?
Yeah.
Tobias, the creator, of MK. John came up with about 90%. We got to contribute to it. Then later on, people try to, keep on contribution. But yeah, basically John loved dragons, so we made it a dragon.
Smart move. 'Cause
Another
it's so
question?
iconic.
Yeah, he is really talented. Yeah, he is. I think that's why his creativity, the creators give so much to the project. I think because he's gone from the project today, it's shaped a little different. I think they don't have his vision, at least my opinion, my big mouth opinion, is that without the creator, the game doesn't go in the direction. That's why you get story changes that are kind of a little crazy, because John, after we helped create the story during the filming, he's a stickler for that, for detail. He keeps on the detail and makes sure that everything fits in. But without that, you get Hollywood or just people who don't really know the game changing the story or changing the characters, get mocap or meat, goofy characters. Anyway.
I want to interject here for a second. After Mortal Kombat had this success, and as computer technology got better and better and better, I know there were like game companies were like popping up, and they're still popping up, and everybody wants to create like another Mortal Kombat or whatever. It's like trying to catch lightning in a bottle, again. I'm not saying that can't be done again, but I think that if you surround yourself with a lot of creative people, you will come up with something kick-ass. But you can't go into it. Like, let's say you're a new game company and you're like, yeah, we want to come up with like a Mortal Kombat and we want to be millionaires and we want to have this big marketed thing and change the world. And you can't go into it like that. You kind of just, like, we didn't go into it like that.
No, we went into it making the best kick-ass game we could. As Rich is saying, with the ninjas, John wanted to be Japanese ninjas. And because it was so low budget, I was like, if you want Japanese ninjas, I'm not doing this game. You have to do these ninjas, Chinese ninjas called the Lin Kuei. And John was like, I never heard of that. And I go, exactly, that's a friggin' ninja. You're not supposed to know about it.
So what is
So
this for? This is the thing. This is the thing that I'm saying again. See, surround yourself by people who read books, who are interested in things that are creative, and read. This man right here, his head is filled with so many awesome, cool things that I've learned from him when I first met him.
Thanks, bro.
And yeah, thank you, my brother. But like even when John was doing this, you know, I'm sure John's mind went quickly to just what everybody else would think of. But Daniel it was already, you know, like some years older than us, and he's got the knowledge. Knowledge is power. Educate yourself on stuff, whether it's, you know, ancient technology or whatever, because, you know, all this stuff can be used in a creative way. Tell him about the lore of the Lin Kuei and how that, because John was probably like, where's this book? Tell him about the book. I love that story. Great stuff.
So I told him about the Lin Kuei, and he's like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, you got to get the book. And he's like, do you have the book? And I'm like, yeah, I have the book. And he's like, let me borrow the book. I collect comics. If you give your comic to your friend, you will never see that comic book ever again. So I was like, no, book, I'm not giving you the book.
You used to have all those.
I said like that, teasing him like that. You got to go to the store and buy it yourself. Well, and he was like, all like, you know, and he'd goof around, because that's the way we goof around. So he's like, okay, fine, I'm going to do that. But guess what? You're going to be Striker. So anyway, it's all, during their creation, it was a whole dueling match of things.
One of the coolest things that Daniel ever got me into is Lovecraft, H.P. Lovecraft. I don't know how many of you know who that is, but, you know, this is just like some cool stuff, you know, and you just got that knowledge and you passed it on to me and I love it. And yeah.
We got a question online. Go ahead.
Albert Liu says, I have a question about Midway early project of using live action actors for video games. Was Pit Fighter the early predecessor of ideas before Mortal Kombat was born?
Well, Pit Fighter was a fighting game. I liked it. Because at the time, there's no other friggin' fighting games. There was Pit Fighter, you know? So as far as fighting games, you can say that, but not really, because, again, we wanted to do a fantasy fighting game. We wanted to take the comic book ideas and the movie ideas and, you know, things that we were fans of and put it into a fighting game. I find it humorous because most of the characters in Mortal Kombat 1 and 2 are based off of Marvel comics. You know, originally Johnny Cage is Daniel Rad from Iron Fist. Same thing with, if you look at Liu Kang in #2, he's Shang-Chi, Master of Kung Fu from Marvel Comics. So the inspiration was Marvel Comics, but now DC owns it.
Which is kind of funny.
So Mortal Kombat is the ultimate crossover from Mortal Kombat and DC. Because, again, you stop by and I can make correlations to all the characters to Marvel Comics. Yeah. So collecting comics has a lot to do with everything. Thanks, Albert.
Another question.
One more question.
Logan says, hey, Pesina and Rich, Logan here. Were there any injuries during the production of the game?
I don't think there was any injuries because we were all trained athletes and martial artists. My biggest complaint was at the beginning when we were filming Johnny Cage, who was the father of all Mortal Kombat characters because he was the first one and we experimented the most with him. We shot a really long time trying to figure out stuff. But at the beginning, they didn't have mats. So I would be jumping and flipping on concrete. So all those falls that you see Johnny Cage doing, that we grabbed right from, a lot of them, there was no pad on the floor. I would be doing it on the floor. Wow. Which is 1 or 2 times is okay, but when you're using your dad's camera, 50 becomes a little bit a lot. But then John would bribe me with pizza. After filming, we would always, John and I would, after filming, we'd be like, okay, we're done filming. And then he's like, you know what, are you hungry? I was like, yeah. He's like, don't worry, I'm gonna call Ed, because Ed has the credit card. So we're gonna call, he calls Ed, we're done filming today. Is there anything else, you know, do you think of anything else we need? And Ed's like, no, you guys are doing a good job. He never peeked his head in when we were filming at the beginning. So he was like, no, you guys are doing a good job. And he's like, hey, can you buy Daniel some dinner? And he's like, yeah, order some pizza. You know?
Leona's.
Yeah, so we would order Leona's after every, that was the bribery. So pizza is my favorite food. So it was a big thing.
We should really be turtles.
We like pizza.
Yeah. Another question from out here. Thanks, Logan. Yes, sir.
So you said it was originally like they wanted Jean-Claude Van Damme to be in it. What were your thoughts when that didn't pan out with Van Damme? What were your thoughts when you found out he was actually going to be in the Street Fighter movie?
Well, when you saw the Street Fighter game.
Yeah, I was really happy because Jean-Claude Van Damme was an idea from management. You know, the owners and Ed came up with like, hey, you know, this fantasy game will not be good. You know, originally they didn't want it. You know, and that's what, like I said, my heart was broken because I was like, damn it, there's going to be Lin Kuei in a movie finally, and freaking it's going to be with Van Damme. So, I mean, in a game, you know, so I was very disappointed with that. But when it got canceled, I was like, man, thank God, because, you know, I really wanted this, like an original idea to be, you know, to be out there and me having a bigger part of it. But I like Van Damme. I pay for all his movies.
Any questions?
Yes.
Oh.
I did. Two comments first. I like the fact that you're both wearing sunglasses, and the fact that you keep crouching in front of cameras, just like, I actually have a question from a friend who couldn't make it. What are your opinions on the newer Mortal Kombat games?
Yeah, actually, I think the artwork, the graphics are really cool. As far as that, what's funny is I see, you know, the new ideas in the games, which were all the ideas we thought of for number one, but we didn't have the technology to do it. You know, dual fighting. Rich and Carlos actually came up with dual fighting to do 2-on-1 fighting. You know, there's Kano actually used his weapons in number one, but again, we didn't have time to actually show him. You couldn't actually play with him using his weapons, even though we filmed fighting patterns with his knives, both his knives, throwing them, which later on became his projectile, but different ways of fighting where he'd be fighting and then you click the button, all of a sudden he's fighting with knives. You know, things like that, and a bunch of stuff.
You know, I don't even own a system, and I don't really play games today. But there's something I am waiting for, and that is, you know, I like how the games, the new ones have. You could see like inside the spine, and you can see all that cool stuff. And I don't know if this. Maybe you can help me out with this. You know how they have like the Call of Duty games and all that kind of stuff where you can walk around the world, like down through hallways, and you can do all that. I don't think Mortal Kombat's like that yet, right? It's just
Like
still
first person?
It's still kind of like side scroll, but like maybe a little 3D here, a little 3D there, you know, whatever. What do they call that? 2.5D. But yeah, I would like to see like a Mortal Kombat game where you're actually running around like through like a world where you have to go in a building or something. And, see, like I said, I don't really follow the newer ones, so.
Yeah, that one's from like 14 years ago, but it's got like a full-on adventure mode. It's actually really cool.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
pretty cool.
Actually, we've with Doc Mac. So I'm saying right now to Doc Mac, so that way Rich came upon your idea. So everybody else out there, if you try to move on it, we've already been talking about that for about a year.
Here, let me tie in a couple of these questions. I'll use this one. Can you guys hear me off of this one?
Yeah.
All right. So earlier, somebody was asking, you know, how do you get into video games? And I want to tie this into the newer Mortal Kombat games also. Another way that you could get into video games, I'm going to give you an example. When they were doing Mortal Kombat HD, you guys have heard of that thing. I get a call, and they go, okay, we want to hire you as a consultant for Mortal Kombat HD. Okay, cool. I'm going to be your consultant. Hire my son and send me my check. My son also does martial arts, also a national champion.
He's in Injustice.
Yes, and now he does mocap for the new Mortal Kombat games and Injustice. So I love those things because that's my son. But yeah, as Rich was saying, surround yourself by creative people. If this is something you want to do, surround yourself by creative people, and then do the work. There's no getting around hours upon hours of martial arts training, of designing, drawing, doing all of this stuff. There's no getting around the work. But if you surround yourself with people, you believe in what you want to accomplish.
You gotta believe.
And then you do the work. There's nothing that you cannot do. So just remember that.
That's your song, huh?
Yeah, you gotta believe.
Yeah. Okay. And that's okay. Now I'm gonna babble for one more minute.
Yeah.
You know, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it's martial arts. It doesn't matter if it's music. Whatever you're passionate about. It all starts with a deep-seated belief, and then the work that's involved in doing that, and never giving up, and knowing that you're not just trying to help yourself. You're trying to, everything is built around this belief system. If you believe in yourself, if you can make yourself better, and if you could reach out and maybe get that information out, and maybe maybe not you, maybe it's somebody else, but at some point, some kid's gonna hear, yeah, you know what? Kung Lao believed in himself, and he influenced me. That kid will eventually grow up and influence somebody else. What we do, we're all pals here. And, like when you buy the CD, that just helps foster the growth of the CD, the book. When you're buying a picture from Liz, she's helping kids get water where they can't get any water. When you're helping us, you're not only helping the body, but when you're helping me, you're helping me help the world.
Do we have time for another quick question?
Yeah, we gotta wrap it up though.
Okay, anybody else have a question out there? Don't be shy, yes sir. You might have to lean a little bit.
I think I can do that. What are your thoughts on the Mortal Kombat motion picture?
Actually, us three met with Kazanov, the producer of it. He actually videotaped us doing it, and right?
Oh my God.
Yeah. So we actually.
They wanted to use their own people.
Yeah. In the end, what they told me was they didn't want me to be the face of Johnny Cage, even though I'm the face of Johnny Cage. And they want, and they were like, it's kind of like Adam West. He's the only, he can pop, for the longest time, he was the only Batman. It had to be many years later until they got a new Batman, because Adam West is still Batman. I love all the other ones, and I love the other interpretations, but they did not want that. They wanted the money right away.
Yeah.
So they didn't want to have that franchise. 2, at the time, they still didn't pay us for Mortal Kombat 1 and 2, because we signed up for 200 games. And then when they started making more, we're like, hey, you're making more. And they were like, don't worry, we're going to take care of you. Keep working.
We're still waiting.
Yeah. Then when it went to the home system, I was like, hey, it's going to the home system. You said we're going to do 200 arcade cabinets. They were like, don't worry, we're going to pay you. And then finally, when we were done with number 2 and we're going to start with number 3, and this is a question Joel asked before, why weren't you in number 3? At that time, I was like, well, you haven't paid me for 1 and 2. Why am I going to do 3? And then later on, they gave me, because of my contract was like two or three paragraphs, they handed me a contract that was like 5 pages. And they wanted me to sign my rights away of my image. And I was like, so basically I took that as they're not going to pay me. And they're gonna, because I don't have it in writing.
Greed.
We're going to have a court battle. So, it's true. Yeah, so it's true.
But kind of getting off on this one too.
So if you create,
you're
a lawyer.
Is Stryker anybody's favorite character here?
Oh, we got one. We got a winner.
Okay, which is great. But again, getting back to the personality and the pixels. Danny, when they keep talking about, Danny is going to be Stryker. If Danny was Stryker, how many people think that Stryker would actually be their favorite character? If you can imagine this cat as Stryker. See, that's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, this personality and the pixel. I love this man. And this guy, forget about it. And her, are you kidding me?
Yeah. Again, if you, I know we're going to be wrapping up. If you have any questions, you can stop by the booth and talk to us. If you want to, we got 2 games over there. So if you want to play me in Mortal Kombat, you could actually, I'm not very good at the game, so you could actually beat up Johnny Cage. or Scorpion, or Sub-Zero, or Reptile, or Smoker, Noob Saibot, or whatever it is. Yeah.
Did you have something to say?
Well, we got photo opportunities over there as well. Don't forget, Tony's going to be doing his weapons, so that's going to be pretty cool, right?
Oh yeah. Oh, and you know what? I saw there's some stages over here, and they got some music. Let's put some pressure on these guys. Let's go over there. Let's sing some songs. Let's have a good time. Oh my God! Let's just tear this place up. All right? Are you guys with me?
Yeah.
Fight.
You don't want to take us out with a song?
Yeah.
Can you put the hat on, Tony?
That's
when he puts the hat on. Tone, can I ask you a question? What happens when you put the hat on?
Gotta believe.
Okay. As I sit here, I'm still just Anthony Marquez, Kung Fu rock star. But when I put on the hat,
when he puts on the hat,
you'll have to come to the booth and find out.
You guys
so much for your time.
Yeah, we're here because of you. So thank you for enjoying our work and being patient with us.
Yeah, stop by the table and talk with us.
Oh my God, yeah, we'll have a good time.
One more round of applause, guys.
Thank you.
For you guys.